to a new academic year here at Hillcrest, one of the strangest starts that I think I've ever experienced to a new academic year. We've been told by the Kenyan government that we can't return to physical school until January 2021 at the earliest, but we're hopeful that this might change. Hence, we're going to have to be online once again, and we're going to offer a near full curriculum for you, which will include PE, all your obvious lessons that you'll be running, PSHE time and tutor time. We're also going to be doing assemblies like this. Those of you who were here last year will know that we ran these virtual assemblies on every Tuesday, and we intend to do exactly the same for this academic year. Last term, the Year 9s did a fantastic job, and this year we're hopeful that the Year 13s will step up to the challenges and deliver equally good assemblies as we go forward. Assemblies are all about, especially at the start of the year, are all about the coming year and what the message is for us to all carry with us throughout that year. Last year it was all about getting prepared. If you remember, we were talking about the military and how they insisted that everyone, as soon as they got out of bed in the morning, had to remake their bed so they could just dive into it at the end of the day. The year before that, it was all about personal targets. What is it you want to achieve? How are you going to do the year? What did you want the year to bring for you as a personal target that you could achieve? This year, we're going to do something slightly different, and it's going to be how to ride a bike. Now, we all know how to ride a bike, or do we? The Brits have an expression that goes something like this. It's as easy as riding a bike. But actually, how easy is that? If it was that easy, you'd find that a lot of robots are able to ride a bike, but they struggle because there's so many complex things involved with riding a bike. I'm going to show you a video in a minute which shows a backwards bicycle. In this new invention that some bright spark has come up with, if you rotate the handlebars to the right, the wheel moves to the left, and vice versa. Just this one small change in riding a bike results in all sorts of complications, such that no one, immediately they get on the bike, is able to ride it correctly. As the video is playing, I'd like you to think of these four things. First of all, adaptability is important. Secondly, knowledge is not understanding. Thirdly, you learn best when you're young. And fourthly, when faced with significant challenges, you have to put in a lot of effort. Take a look at the video. We'll look at those four things in more detail after it's been shown.
Like many 6-year-olds with a MacGyver mullet, I learned how to ride a bike when I was really young. I had learned a life skill and I was really proud of it. Everything changed though when my friend Barney called me 25 years later. Where I work, the welders are geniuses and they like to play jokes on the engineers. He had a challenge for me. He had built a special bicycle and he wanted me to try to ride it. He had only changed one thing. When you turn the handlebar to the left, the wheel goes to the right. When you turn it to the right, the wheel goes to the left. I thought this would be easy, so I hopped on the bike ready to demonstrate how quickly I could conquer this.
And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Justin Salem. First attempt riding the bicycle.
All right. So the faster I go, the better.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. You can see that I'm laughing, but I'm actually really frustrated. In this moment, I had a really deep revelation. My thinking was in a rut. This bike revealed a very deep truth to me. I had the knowledge of how to operate the bike, but I did not have the understanding. Therefore, knowledge is not understanding. Look, I know what you're probably thinking. Destin's probably just an uncoordinated engineer and can't do it. But that's not the case at all. The algorithm that's associated with riding a bike in your brain is just that complicated. Think about it. Downwards force on the pedals, leaning your whole body, pulling and pushing the handlebars, gyroscopic precession in the wheels. Every single force is part of this algorithm. And if you change any one part, it affects the entire control system. I do not make definitive statements that often, but I'm telling you right now, you cannot ride this bicycle. You might think you can, but you can't. I know this because I'm often asked to speak at universities and conferences and I take the bike with me. It's always the same. People think they're going to try some trick or they're just going to power through it. It doesn't work. Your brain cannot handle this. For instance, this guy. I offered him $200 just to ride this bike 10 feet across the stage. Everybody thought he could do it.
No, you didn't understand. You didn't understand. So, this way. Okay. All right, a second. All right, so, whenever you're ready. Wait. No, you have to keep your feet on. Dude, all right, here we go. Just give it wait. Like, you gotta start rolling at least. Okay, go. And go. Oh, go! Alright, back up. Okay, wait. Keep your feet on the pedal. Go. Go right on. Just keep your feet on the pedals. Handles on. Yeah, come on. Alright, one more time. Okay.
Once you have a rigid way of thinking in your head, sometimes you cannot change that, even if you want to. So here's what I did. It was a personal challenge. I stayed out here in this driveway and I practiced about 5 minutes every day. My neighbors made fun of me. I had many wrecks, but after 8 months, this happened. One day I couldn't ride the bike and the next day I could. It was like I could feel some kind of pathway in my brain that was now unlocked. It was really weird though. It's like there's this trail in my brain, but if I wasn't paying close enough attention to it, my brain would easily lose that neural path and jump back onto the old road it was more familiar with. Any small distractions at all, like a cell phone ringing in my pocket, would instantly throw my brain back to the old control algorithm and I would wreck. But at least I could ride it. My son is the closest person to me genetically, and he's been riding a normal bike for 3 years. That's over half his life. I wanted to know how long it would take him to learn how to ride a backwards bike, so I told him if he learned how to ride a backwards bike, he could go with me to Australia and meet a real astronaut.
Are you gonna give up?
No.
Go ahead. This is how it starts. Look at this. This is such a big deal. Get up, you got it. Did you see his brain get it? So in how many weeks have we been doing this? 2 weeks? In 2 weeks, he did something that took me 8 months to do, which demonstrates that a child has more neuroplasticity, am I even saying that right, than an adult.
It's clear from this experiment that children have a much more plastic brain than adults. That's why the best time to learn a language is when you're a young child.
All right, today's bike log. I can ride smooth, I can ride fast. I'm thinking the experiment is over.
Okay, now I'm in Amsterdam, a city that has more bicycles than people. The question is, can I ride a normal bike now? I mean, I've spent all this time unlearning how to ride a bike. If I go back and try to ride a normal one, will my brain mess up? So I've tweeted a Smarter Everyday meetup, if you will, and I'm gonna see if somebody brings a bicycle and I'm gonna try to ride a normal bike. It's backwards.
This was one of the most frustrating moments of my life. I had ridden a normal bike since I was 6, but in this moment I couldn't do it anymore. I had set out to prove that I could free my brain from a cognitive bias. But at this point, I'm pretty sure that all I proved is that I could only redesignate that bias.
So what you're not seeing is just a group of people here looking at me, looking at the strange American that can't ride a bike because they think I'm dumb. But I'm actually 2 levels deep into this because I've learned and unlearned. All right.
After 20 minutes of making a fool out of myself, suddenly my brain clicked back into the old algorithm. I can't explain it, but it happened in a very specific moment.
I got it. I'm back. Oh, it clicked. Hold on, it clicked. I got it. Okay, there it is. There was the moment. Okay, I can ride a bike.
I tried to explain this to the people around me, and they just didn't get it. They thought I was faking the previous 20 minutes, and I couldn't get anybody to believe me.
That looked like I faked that, didn't it?
Yeah.
Just a fake. You think I'm faking. You don't believe me.
That looks so weird. You were like, la la la, and it's full.
You think I'm lying, don't you?
So, let's look at those 4 things in more detail. First of all, adaptability is important. Sometimes you just can't keep on doing things in the same way. Challenges come along, alterations happen, and you have to adapt accordingly. This is precisely what's happening at the moment. The handlebars on our life have been reversed. What we normally would do is we'd climb into a vehicle, drive into school, do the 5 lessons, have some lunch, go home at the end of the day. Maybe you've got an ECA in there, or maybe there's a bit of sport or a match against another local school. and then you go home, and then you'd repeat the same thing for 5 days, and then you'd start again the following week. At the moment, it's entirely different. You get out of bed, and you find that school comes to your living room. How adaptable are you to that? Now, I know a number of you are finding it's really, really difficult to cope with online learning, and I know a number of staff are finding extreme challenges with this as well. They've had to learn new skills, being able to adapt and to be able to deliver their lessons to you as effectively as they possibly can. They've had to introduce new apps to add that interactivity that is so difficult to have when you're at the end of a computer screen. Now, what you can do is you can decide that you can use these changes and these challenges as a way of ducking out of learning. Or you can adapt and say, yes, things have changed, and I'm willing to change in order to make the best of the circumstances that I find myself in. I hope each one of you are able to adapt, because what I believe is going to be the case is that changes are going to keep on coming. They're going to keep on hitting you. And what employers want is people who can learn, relearn, and then relearn again. So use this as an opportunity rather than just a challenge. The second thing is that knowledge is not understanding. I know how to ride a bike. I can sort of rationalize it in my head that if I need to sort of turn right, I need to turn the handlebars to the right. If I need to go left, I need to turn the handlebars to the left. I can even rationalize if someone says to me, look, the polarity has changed, and I can say, okay, to go to the right, I now need to move the handlebars to the left, or vice versa. However, for that to become embedded within me and to be internalized, that is an enormous challenge. And you saw that on the video with so many people finding it extremely difficult in order to be able to ride the bicycle. In terms of the application for us here at Hillcrest, a lot of you have been learning stuff over the last 12 months or more, especially if you are here at Hillcrest with us. Which is why if you're in year 10 or in year 11 or in year 13, what we're asking you to do is to show us just how much you have internalized that knowledge that you have been given by your teachers last year. That is why we're asking you to do exams. Now then, if you don't do so well in those exams, that's not a problem, because what it does is it gives us information in terms of how we can help you to make progress in this coming year. That's the whole purpose of us doing these exams. So don't view it as a massive challenge or a big stress out situation for you. It's there to help you. It's there to help us, to help you as well. So you make the best of the opportunities that you've got in front of you. The third thing is that you learn best when you're young. I don't know if you remember on the video, you saw the young lad who was trying to ride the backwards bicycle, and he achieved in 2 weeks what his father took 8 months to achieve. They called it neuroplasticity. Make the best use of the opportunities you've got now, because trust me, you learn best when you're at the age that you are now, not when you're at the age that I am now. The fourth factor is that when faced with significant challenges, you have to put in an extra effort. And that's certainly the case here in school. We're not all good at everything. Some of us are good at the creative subjects, others of us are good at the more scientific or mathematical subjects. And there's a whole range of other things in between. So what you're going to do is you're going to be given a task to do, and maybe it's not the task that you enjoy doing, and it's not the task that you find easy to do. What are you going to do when faced with that challenge? Are you going to give up, or are you going to keep on going? We saw that with the guy in the film, whereby he, for some reason best known to himself, wanted to overcome the challenge of a backwards bicycle. And he spent 8 months trying to be able to do that. He fell off a number of times. He probably hurt himself a number of times. He found frustrations in trying to sort of do this activity, but yet he persisted with it. And eventually, according to him, something just clicked in his head, and then he was able to achieve what was impossible for him to have achieved before. The same principle will apply to you. There will be some subjects that you just find so difficult to do. And if you give up, that's when you will actually fail. Because failure is not the opposite of success, it's actually part of success. I hope you'll take these 4 messages with you throughout this year, because I think they're important messages for us at this time of challenge that we're all faced with. Challenges are there for us to overcome, not for them to overcome us. And I hope that each one of you will be successful in the year by overcoming the challenges that you all will undoubtedly face. Before I finish, just one last thing. We have 2 new members of staff with us. The first is Mr. Joseph Waldron. He's the new head of computing, and he'll be teaching you computing, and you'll also see him around the school as and when we return, hopefully in January. The second is Miss Evangeline Grant. She will be teaching English and some drama lessons. If you're fortunate to be in their lessons, please do welcome them, please do cooperate with them, please do work hard from them, because they have come a awful long way to be here with you. One has come from Hong Kong, the other has come from Argentina. Finally, enjoy your day online, enjoy your week online, make the best of this opportunity. It's the only one that we're able to give you, and make this year a success. Thank you.